just the result is good. But it's an example even at that level.
Thank you. Yes.
Short addition to what regarding negotiations. I once read in a book the sentence, "Never accept their first offer."
Right.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, if you do, in the end, both sides are unhappy.
Yeah.
In any sales process, because the person selling or offering a salary thinks, well, she didn't
Negotiate.
I could have offered less. Yeah, or if you're selling something, some used car, whatever, the salesperson, the person selling could think, I could have asked for more. She immediately accepted that. I should have asked for more. Yeah, and then the buyer goes home thinking, damn, I should have asked. I mean, the price is okay, but I should have asked. Maybe I could have gotten it cheaper. Yeah. So in the end, without a negotiation, without even trying, both will be unhappy. Yeah. I mean, give it a try, and if the answer is no, then you tried. Yeah? You can go home with the feeling, okay, I at least tried. It's okay. I'm happy with the price anyway. Yeah.
In few companies I worked for, international corporations, we have an equal salary policy. We have a certain space for salaries, and we frequently have a problem that the females are asking for too few, and we can't offer them that small amount. Based on their experience, we simply can't.
Right.
For that position they're applying. And I worked for the client, it was not my employer, but I worked for a client where we simply could not employ the lady according to policy because she asked for too few. Or too little. We could not, we've been trying to suggest her to ask more, but we could not do it directly. And she had to understand, she hadn't catch that. We had to say no. We were forced to say no because we couldn't pay her so small amount, and the other policy prohibited us from paying her more than she asked.
Yeah.
So we haven't employed her. And it was not an individual case.
Wow.
It is not an individual case. It happens all over again and again and again and again. And if you're applying for work in an international company, look, there are salary reviews. There is this Glassdoor or something like that.
Glass ceiling.
No, the Glassdoor website.
Okay, yes.
The Glassdoor website. And look there. Check what are the acceptable salaries and show flexibility when presenting it, because this flexibility also will show not only that you're able to negotiate downwards, it also shows that you're allowed to negotiate in other direction. And look for the signals, because frequently we would offer you a lower position that we're looking for, and we'll say, if you hear something like that, what happened with interviews with me frequently is, you know what, based on your experience and different parameters, we could not say financial expectations, we think you will fit better in other position. We also have and will be happy to employ you, and we offer her a different position that is actually lower. In different department, in the same team, but lower position, whatever. Just to meet your financial requirement. Because we will be not allowed to pay less to the female than to pay to the man. So we have to position her lower. As simple as that.
Thank you, Hadrian. This was a really good point, actually 2 points, because that's exactly my experience and what happens around me. It's really this. First of all, we can't give such a small salary to women, or to anybody requesting it. It's a policy. It's very often just happens this way. What we can do here is just go and research. It's actually for both genders. Just go and research how much you can earn on this position in this city. Compare all companies. You have all those websites, and this is really amazing, because then you go to your boss and say, look, that's statistics, and believe me, you are going to get what you want. I did. It happens. Yeah. And I just wanted to touch upon another one subject, just once more. And this one is, for example, happens to women. Sometimes it happens that your knowledge or you will be underestimated by the fact that you look young, or you're young, or you look nice, or you're nice. It might happen. It happens. Not so often, fortunately, in our world, but it does happen. It's really painful, though. It's really painful because you just have to fight the way you look and the way that I mean, your age, to work a little bit harder, just to prove that you are actually a professional and can be a partner at work. And I will tell you a short story with my brother. Like, he's younger. He was 20. He came to visit me a few years ago in Warsaw, student. And what he did is, like, I was packing for work, preparing. I had this big bag with my laptop, and I had all the papers for work there. Going out for work, he looked at me like disgusted looking. Like, are you going to work with this bag? I'm like, yes. What is the problem? He's like, oh, that's totally unsexy. Okay, it didn't look like this one, yeah? It was a laptop bag, a big one. I was a little bit offended. My first reaction was like, are you kidding? So you tell I'm not sexy, but in the same time, I just thought to him, look, I'm going to work. And if I'm going to work, sexy is out of the game. I'm going to work and I want to be professional. I'm going to work with those people. And this is something to remember. If tomorrow you finish university and you are going to work, you won't be looking at women whether they're sexy or not, right? Yeah? I don't agree. Don't say it. It's not easy. It's not easy, it happens, and it's really painful. It's really painful, especially if you have to work on projects that involve older men, for example, older, not old, but I mean, for example, with 20 more years of experience. Then it comes very often that they just don't listen. It's like, you talk, but it's like, whatever, you know. Maybe not with this gesture, but it's still, when you don't see the listening, it's not there, so you know how it is. And fortunately not so often, but this is still there, and there's not much you can do about it. Just my suggestion, the only suggestion is just to consider 3 times how you look going out to work, because a lot of things are not acceptable, or wouldn't be. And the other thing is just to try to stick to be as professional as anybody else. And I had this amazing achievement, I would say. A few weeks ago I had to present in front of the regional leads of the whole company. Now, this was a surprise, actually, a surprise presentation which Toastmaster taught me that it's easy to make. I didn't know that I'm going to have it. But I stood up and I did an amazing job. Then one of them came to me, one of my colleagues, and he said, oh, Milena, congratulations, that's an amazing thing that you did. I'm really happy I know you. But the interesting thing is that what the most flattering thing for me, exciting, is the way he did it, not what he said. And I asked him, you know what he did? Now, he stood up next to me. He said, he was saying, I really congratulate you for what you did, but how he did it. Really well done. My first reaction was like, oh my God, that was a little bit too much. But no, I didn't say anything, yeah? I looked at him and was like, but then I was so flattered because I knew at that moment that he didn't see me as a woman, that he saw me as a partner, he saw me as somebody working with him. I was so happy, really. That was my first success. It made me think of Mark Hunter, actually. Remember what he said. Like, for those who don't know him, he's in a wheelchair. He's an amazing speaker. He had this speech about the fact how people look at him because he's in a wheelchair sometimes. And what his words really rang my mind when he was saying, I really, really want you to look at me as the human, not as this, the thing. And really sometimes I feel like, look at me as a human, not as a woman. You know? Really reminded me those words. But okay, let's say those are exceptions, and they didn't really feel nice the way this guy treated me. Now, 3 reasons, yeah? 3 reasons. It's partnership. First, partnership. Let's make men sit to the kitchen table. Of course, some might not want, but most of them won't. Let's really ensure that we don't behave like control freaks. It's calm. Give them a chance, so we have more time to go to work and be better partners. Let's not lean back and resign from our careers just because we want to have and kids and home. That's not happening. Let's educate our kids the best possible way. Let's just give them a chance to choose whether they want to wear trousers or a dress. Whether whenever they want to play with guns or a doll. Let's never tell them they're not good at mathematics or humanistic studies. And let's be more self-confident tomorrow when we go and discuss with our bosses that we can actually do better. We know how much we cost. And let's do it in the best direct possible way, because if your boss is a man, they wouldn't know what's in your head and what you think. They wouldn't know how good you are if you don't go and say it. Then and only then we can be real partners. Then and only then we can learn as much. But we need to start talking. And not talk about discrimination, because that's not the case in our world anymore. It's not. It happens, okay, in other places, but not here. Let's not hide behind it. Let's talk about the real reasons. That's why I wanted to open this discussion. And I really hope people are going to talk. Do you want to talk about it?
I have some experience when you talk about company and how such problems occur in the company. I'm working in a technical business. We sell tools, very, very simple technical things which are usually for men. I would say 90% of the people using the products are men. But what we learned, that women, they are very rare in this business. I would say maybe 5% of the sales people or person doing something in tool business are women. But they are, in most cases, more successful than average of men.
Yes, absolutely.
Because
I agree.
first of all, this is a place, this is a branch, nobody expects women. Of course, they have to know a lot. They have to usually know more than men, because they have to prove they are good. But they are much more effective, they are much more convincing, and the success in the sales is higher, it's better. But it's not easy. It's not easy because I got many times phone calls from the girls in my company, because the customer did not trust that the girl is able to explain the same that I can. About special solution, technical solution, I said, yeah, she can tell you. No, I want to talk to you because I want to talk to men.
Yeah. And Arek, you know why that is? Because if the woman was just as good as her colleagues, it's not good enough.
It's not enough.
It's not good enough.
It's not enough. But I absolutely agree when we talk about salary. The girls in my company, they usually don't ask me for increase the salary. The guy, they do it, of course, from time to time. They come to me. The girls usually not. They're ashamed, or they don't see on the same way.
No, they think you know what's they think you should evaluate them.
Yeah, they expect
by the way they work.
I think that the guys are coming and they will know what they want, and the girls, they expect me to see them.
Right.
To do it.
Yeah.
I don't like sitting. Sorry.
Sure, like that. I would like just to attract your attention to a very important fact, because we have so many young people considering the age and considering the time.
A lot of successes. Please help me welcome on the stage Milena Paluchowska.
But I think Adrian he made it a really colorful story, though. It wasn't exactly the way he said it. But he forgot to mention that my husband wasn't my husband before. That's why he is my husband now. But I didn't make him leave. One of us had to leave in order for us to function well. And we learned to be better leaders so we can work together in those matters and outside. Now, I really expected to see more women here, and I hoped, because this speech was for women, about women, and of course it's also for men and how to understand each other better.
The good news is there's 5 women, and there's a lot of men who are interested. This is good.
It's actually a great thing that there is a lot of men here, because I thought men are afraid that I would jump on them and for like 30 minutes I'll speak about discrimination. That's not the point. Now, the thing is that this talk is going to be about personal choice. It's because women still earn less than men. Catherine doesn't agree with me, but it's statistics. Women earn less than men, and it was reported that it's about 77 cents of each $1 that women earn less. So it's 22% less than each man. And we speak about the same experience, we speak about the same subject, field of work, same company, let's say same workplace. And why it happens? Well, it's not about gender discrimination anymore. And men can relax. I'm not gonna do it, I'm not gonna jump on you. It's not that I'm not a feminist, okay, but it's not that I don't respect what feminists did. With all due respect, I am really happy for what they did, just because I'm able to stand here in front of you now and talk to more men than women. But what happened is actually, there is a lot of reasons behind it that we just don't speak about. And a lot of reasons behind it, and we don't speak about it because we hide between the subject of lack of emancipation, for example, or gender discrimination. And why do we hide behind it? Why? Because it's difficult to talk about it. Men don't speak about it just because of what you see over here, because they're afraid. Or they don't think the issue exists anymore, which is okay. Women don't speak about it because most of the time, if it's a strong woman, she wouldn't mention anything because she would be considered feminist or a weaker one, which none of the strongest women wants really to hear about herself. Well, it's a difficult subject to talk about, and that's why we don't talk about it. I wanted to open a discussion, and that's why I'm here. And it happened like a month ago. I had a speech in my club. It was a very short one. And during the speech, I told them that I found several reasons that it's actually the issue is far away from discrimination and what we might think it is and might seem it is. And it opened such a heated discussion that I thought, oh my God, let's do it at TLI because people need to see it. It doesn't matter how many people are here and now. It matters the fact that we will open a discussion and people will see recording and people will start talking. And it's really unfortunate that there aren't a lot of women here. And what I see here is more men than women. Because obviously, maybe women, there's two reasons, maybe women in Toastmasters don't think that this issue exists. But women in Toastmasters are still a minority among other women. So for me, we just need to begin the discussion in order to make it much better for us. Now, 3 reasons I found, and you might think, what is then the connection between Toastmasters and this topic, right? Why are we listening to it at the Toastmasters Leadership Institute? All the reasons that I'm going to point out as to why we still earn less than men are actually connected to Toastmasters, or the things that we learn in Toastmasters. Because with what we learn here, with all our skills, we can work it out and we can make it in a way that we will be earning as much. I've done research on it, different authors. Some of them I really recommend to all of you. For example, Sheryl Sandberg is somebody speaking about, she's a CEO of Facebook. CEO of Facebook. CEO. Now she spoke about a similar subject. And there is somebody that is also very much involved in writing books about women and why in earnings. Darrell Warren. Most of my research was concentrated on BBC and ABC media. Why? Because they really concentrated their articles on the public opinion, and that's what mattered to me. Because a lot of women that would earn way less than men would be actually women that would read rather the media than the books. Let's go back to it. 3 reasons I found, and 3 things that are really connected to what we learn here in Toastmasters. And first one is partnership. Partnership is something that we learn in Toastmasters. Now I'm here for 3 months. I learned something. You just pick it. I come and teach you. Now I partner you voluntarily on your way to become a better person, to develop. That's what we are actually lacking in our relationships. Partnership. And let me go back a lot of years back. The moment when all of us, men and women, had separate roles. Now, women were caretakers. They were staying home, they had kids, they were a cave woman. We had men that were hunting, they were providing the living. 2 separate roles. We knew what our roles were. Life was simple. Nobody was discussing anything. Until the moment when at the end of the 19th century we got the first waves of the feminist movements. And by the 70s, what we got is like women fought for political and civil rights. Amazing. Now we got it all. Women got civil and political rights. Women went to work equally as men. Now what happened over here is that feminists didn't foresee something. Feminists didn't foresee what this would bring. Now going for women going out and going to work, becoming equal at work, fair enough. Did men become equal at home? I haven't seen a man fighting for kitchen rights. Really, and I'm not blaming the men. I'm not blaming the men here actually. I'm not. What happened over here is that I had a colleague at university a few years ago. He really pissed me off. We were discussing those things, like civil political rights. He was like, I just don't understand you women. I really don't. It's all your fault. Like, you had kids and a house. Then you fought for civil and political rights and you went to work. Now you have kids and you have work. It's all your fault. What do you want? I wouldn't mention that probably he was French, yeah? Now, he really pissed me off. But having a second thought, he was right. He was right because it's our fault that we didn't take men back. And I will just give you one story, personal story, happened a few months ago. A friend of mine got married a year ago. 6 months later, she knocks on my door and I open and she says, look, we had a really strong argument and I left. Can I sleep over? I didn't let her in. I said, okay, let's go to the bar next door, discuss, and then we'll see where you're going to sleep. Which was the best discussion ever. What happened is actually a funny story. The guy wanted to help at home. He wanted to help, but he didn't do it the way she wanted him to. And the whole argument was about how to hang the clothes out of the washing machine, how to hang them to dry on the dryer. Can you imagine? Does it really matter how you hang the clothes? In the end of the day, they will be dry. Why are we such control freaks? Why do we want to control everything at home? Why not just bring men at home and give him the washing? Let them do whatever. If we don't do it, actually, what happens? We lean back. That's what Sheryl Sandberg says. If we don't let men sit on the kitchen table, how can we have enough time to sit at the office table? We can't. It's a double work. We go home, we do the job, then we lean back because we decide naturally to have kids. Okay, we're caretakers. It's our natural role. But that shouldn't be like a big problem, right? Well, if we get men to help us, we would have enough time to go to work. And we don't do it because we're a control freak and we can't let go because home is what we control, right? We want to be good moms, we want to be good housewives, but we want to earn as much as men. Like, are you kidding? How is it going to happen? Now, our first solution is partnerships. Really, like, get the men to the kitchen table, as Sheryl Sandberg says. Then and only then we can sit at the office table. We'll have enough time to sit at the office table, which would give us the money once you resign from work. No. It's your choice, you're earning less. Now, I found a second reason. That's education. I will take you back again, not so long ago, to your childhood. Parents divide their kids. We divide to girls and boys. We give the boy the blue trousers and the gun, or the plane, or whatever, a car. Now, what we do with the girls, we give her a pink dress and we give her a doll.
And it made a lasting impression on you.
That's on purpose. Now we give her a doll, or some even get a plastic iron. Why not? It's an amazing toy, a plastic iron. Now what we do here is we divide our kids from the very beginning. We tell them, you're a boy, you're a girl. You have to go and fight to save the world, to earn money. You have to stay at home, take care of the kids of whoever a caretaker. Now we teach our kids that one provides living, the other one is a caretaker. That's okay. That's okay if they grow up happy. Apparently a lot of people aren't. Here what we can do is just give them a chance. What happened to me is that I was fortunate I wasn't raised the traditional way. My father really wanted to have a boy, and back then they couldn't check it. So I was born a girl. Unfortunately, I was born a girl. They didn't have a name for a girl. I had to wait for one for a week, I think. And then he didn't resign, though. He would take me from the very beginning with him. He's a hunter, hunting. Believe me, I was 4 when I began going with him into the woods, with his rifles, with everything. The first time he gave me the gun, the big rifle to shoot, was 8. That was the moment I resigned, actually. It was the time when I still remember the kick of the rifle. It's impossible, just fall down. Now the thing is that it's a bit of an extreme example, that is me, but I never had a problem with expressing myself, standing up in front of men or bosses or anybody. And I think it's exactly because my education, I was raised up in a different way. I was given a choice, and really a choice, because my sister is just a year and a half younger. She never came with us. She was asked if she wanted. She decided to stay at home with the dolls. Fair enough, but we were both given a choice. And that's what I mean. Our solution here is maybe not give the gun to the girls, a real gun, but give them the chance to choose. Don't pick the clothes for them, the dress and the doll. Maybe they wouldn't, just when you take them to the toy shop, let them choose. Maybe they wouldn't choose the doll. Maybe the boy would choose the doll. Why not? Maybe they would be the caretakers tomorrow. Why not? And same thing happens in university. Really, and in school. How many times, tell me, did you hear, how many times that women are not good at mathematics? How many times?
No, I didn't hear it. My degree is in mathematics.
Oh, that's great. Now what happens here is that it's very often that we would somehow push for the women to go for the social studies or humanistic studies, which in general later on are lower paid than any other technical studies, for example. And it's very often that we would educate or push our kids to go those directions. Now you go for medicine, you become a pilot. Why if I want to become a pilot? Or if I want to become a soldier? Why not? In general education, different type of education brings you to different type of salaries, and it goes deeper and deeper. There is a third reason. Actually, it's 2 in 1, but it's very connected. And the third reason, which is the most important for me, what I find, it's very related to the first 2, and it comes out of the first 2. Because the first 2 was partnering feminism and what we consider we are. The second one is what education and other social media, everything forms of people. And the third one is who we are today and how we communicate who we are. Before moving to that one, I just wanted to push another button, and that's media. How media teaches us and what media shows us as to who we are. Now there is this TED Talk I watched recently. The guy's name is Colin, I forgot the family, I will let you know later. But the guy spoke about how women are presented in movies, how women are presented also in the animation movies for kids. Actually, he spoke specifically about what his kids watch and what we can achieve with those. And apparently, and I know you would agree on that this time, is the fact that most of the strong roles, most of the leading roles, most of the movies that are connected to action, saving the world, big, strong people are men. Now those are men with very, very small exceptions, like probably the Wizard of Oz.
Tomb Raider.
But when you think about it, how are the women then presented? It's okay to be a man, though, anyways, the leading role could be a male. But how are the women presented in the movies and animations? The woman is the weak one. She's the caretaker. She's the one sitting at home with the kids. She's the one waiting silently for her amazingly handsome, strong husband to come back from this war, and she's his reward. The woman is very often a reward in a movie. You come back and you sit at home, and this is your reward. Your beautiful wife is waiting for you. What does it tell us, for God's sake? What does it tell us? What is the role of a man and what is the role of a woman? And it's media and movies, and it's even animation movies for small kids that show the same message. Here I can't really give you a solution to this one because you don't really have a lot of animations or movies with women. You really don't. It's good to see the step tall because he was trying to balance it for his kids. Maybe we'll find an answer there. The thing is that, moving to the next subject, number 3, it's self-confidence, self-evaluation, and communication. And now tell me that's not Toastmasters, right? That's exactly what we learned here. That's exactly what's going to help women and us in general. When I speak about women, why women are less than men, this is not a subject that concerns only women. It concerns all of us. It's the way we communicate, it's the way we live together, it's the way we can manage it together. And self-evaluation is the basis. And by self-evaluation, we have several examples. One of them is going out of university. Like bits of BBC statistics, they go out of the university. You have 2 people from the same class, from the same experience, with the same practice, whatever they have. Now a man would go to a job, they will search for a job. Even in the process of searching, a man would search for a higher position. They would think higher. They would evaluate themselves higher than women. They would just, from the beginning, they would say, oh, that one is for me, that one is not good enough, it's too low. That's what the woman would go for. And going further, a different statistic shows that women that actually work, women and men that actually go to interviews for the same position, women would request less money than men, way less. They wouldn't self-evaluate themselves. They wouldn't evaluate themselves as high as men. And they would get the lower salary. Why wouldn't they? Why would any boss give you more if you request less? The thing here is that women don't see work as service. Work is what I sell. That's how much it costs. And we have to look at it this way. Because going to talk to somebody on an interview, that's what you say. Look, that's how much it costs. That's how much I want to receive. We have to know our price, but we have to evaluate ourselves higher. Coming on the communication subject, even going to an interview, a review actually, we're working already, imagine a situation, you are working already, you have a boss. Now everybody is going to a review, different ones. Middle year, end of year. How many women do you think would request as much as men? How many women do you think would actually request a raise at the end of year review? Do you think it happens?
Right.
10%.
No, 15, no.
16.5.
Men actually do it.
You talk them into the
Men do it.
behavior, right?
Women don't. And here, it's about the same thing. It's about how we communicate between ourselves. It is because what women do is just they sit silently, they think, I've done an amazing job during the last 1 year. I know my boss noticed it. And they will give me what I deserve. That's what most of the women think. But they wouldn't say what they deserve. Unless your boss is a woman, they might know the way you think. But if it's a man, like, come on. And we come to the same subject. How many men know what you think? We have the same problem at home. As long as you don't say directly in the face, would they know what you think? They don't. Just go and say directly in their face. This is exactly how much it costs, how much it costs. Be aggressive, be direct. Simple, exactly. Talk their language. And you will get what you need and what you want. Yeah.
The interesting story about Sheryl Sandberg when she was offered the COO position at Facebook. She was offered a salary. She was offered a salary, and she was prepared to just take it as offered. And she even said, "Well, I thought it was a good salary. It was pretty good. It was for what I needed." And then she came home, and it was her brother-in-law and her brother who said, "You have to negotiate. You really have to negotiate." And Sheryl was just saying, "Well, actually, it's pretty fair. It's pretty okay." "No, you have to negotiate. You are going for COO position. You're going to be negotiating. You have to show that you're negotiating." Okay. So she went back to Mark Zuckerberg and actually said, "That's your first offer. I want more." She actually said, "I want more," against her better judgment. She did get more. And now she actually talks about it as saying, "That is what a man would do, and I was prepared to lean back. And I actually leaned in and did this." And sure,